Time now for Marble City Pharmacy's Health Monday. We're joined by Jared and Jacob here on a Monday morning, the 10th day of February 2025. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. I see you decked out in your Aggie attire this morning.
Man, I'm pumped. Sweet 16.
That's right. Here we go. Ready or not. I know we want to start off this morning, and of course, Daniel had been with y'all forever, I think, and he decided to move back closer to home. I know y'all will miss him.
Man, 12 years.
He'd been with us 12 years. It's the longest run we'd had for any of our full-time pharmacists as a group, and that includes with Dad and Mr. James Hobson and everybody. So Jared and I and Daniel, as the three full-time pharmacists, is by far our longest run, 12 years.
Usually people can't stand us for more than a couple of weeks.
Yeah, 12 years is a long time.
Well, we wish him the very best as he goes toward home up in the Coleman area. RSV. Same to you, buddy. What is this about?
Well, we're going to say this one time.
Because that's all we can do.
I'm going to say it one time. Respiratory Syncytial virus.
There you go. Good job.
Just for the just for the
I'm
nerds.
impressed.
Just for the nerds out there, we're going with RSV, right? So this is a respiratory virus. It's a very common respiratory virus. We have never tested for this virus, but as a 47-year-old man, I've probably had this 10, 20, 30, who knows how many times in my life. RSV usually presents as the common cold. It's a common cause of the common cold. Sorry for using that word so many times. So this is going to look like your 7 to 10 to 14 day infection when you have a runny nose and sneezing and maybe a low-grade fever and you maybe have a little bit of a cough and you generally just don't feel good, right? So generally presents as a common cold.
Well, I know a lot of people who've already dealt with that this season, Jacob, and so what is this all about, and why the big fuss about it here recently?
Yeah, I imagine people have started thinking, hey, why am I hearing about RSV so much now? Because you're hearing Jared and Jacob say this has been around way more than our entire lives, and we've had it, double-digit number of times at the very least. Well, there's two factors, I think, that play into why we're hearing about this so much now. And I don't want this to come across sounding cynical, but sometimes there are just reasons, right? One, with the advent of COVID-19 a few years ago, we started becoming obsessed with testing every single time. We cram something up your nose every time you go into the doctor's office and sneeze, and we have to know exactly what virus it is. So what do you know? We test everybody on the planet, and we find there's a whole bunch of RSV, right? So, huge numbers. Well, yeah, we've always had that. We just haven't shoved something up your nose every time you sneezed. And so we have this huge increase in RSV. And then two, as it would happen, two of the largest drug manufacturers in the world managed to come out with vaccines for RSV in the last couple of years and advertise for them very heavily. And so, hence, a lot of dollars going into it, and now everybody everywhere hears about RSV all the time. I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do. I'm here to tell everybody this is not something that you haven't dealt with your entire life. It's always been there if you're watching this, no matter what age you are, it's been out there your entire life.
I feel bad just hearing about this. Can it be serious?
It can be serious. The commercial will make it sound like this is serious for everybody. Nothing could be further from the truth. RSV, though, and you may have experienced this in your family or some of your friends, can be serious, particularly in children who are less than 1 year old, right? You get kids that don't have a fully developed immune system, right? They get RSV, and then you may see them have trouble breathing. They may have to end up getting some IV fluids and maybe some breathing treatments, sometimes even in the hospital. So generally speaking, when it's serious, it's in a kid less than 1 year old. Even then, that's not all that common. It can be serious in patients over 65. It would only get serious if they have heart or lung disease. It'd be a situation where it turned into a pneumonia or a bronchitis, got into the lower respiratory tract. So yes, it can be serious even in older adults. Again, that's very rare.
So how do we come in contact with this type of disease or sickness or whatever this is?
Yes, honestly, just like any other viral cold. And so that's good news and it's bad news, right? Good news is it's not anything bizarre that we have to do anything different or worry about. It's just simply the bad news is that it spreads easily like every other common viral cold. sneezes, coughs, all these things that cause droplets into the air, touching things, all the ways we spread viruses commonly are how we spread this one. And as for most people, it would be like this for myself or Jared. It's not that severe an illness. We feel a little rough. It's not that big a deal. We're probably not staying home. We're probably out in the public with everyone else, just like everyone else. And so it spreads very rapidly and very easily, which is one of the reasons it is so common. Because in most people, it's not so severe that you're laid up at the house. You're out doing everything you're going to do anyway. And so it spreads very rapidly and very easily.
So can it be prevented?
Well, the short answer to that, I'll just say, is no. This is an invisible virus. One of my pet peeves that came out of COVID was that we found ourselves blaming other people when we get sick, and yet these viruses are invisible. So there's no way to know how we actually got them. So that's my soapbox for the day. You can do things to decrease your risk, though, right? We've talked about it on this show, and you've heard it 1,000 times now in the last 5 years. One would be frequent hand washing and encouraging those around you to do the same. Don't drink after somebody else's drinking glass. That should be obvious, but I'll put it out there for you anyway. Don't smoke. Persons who smoke have a more difficult time once they get RSV, maybe even have an easier time contracting it and coming down with it. And then I'll address this. Jake talked about the vaccine. 2 of our major drug companies have introduced them. They are said to, with a one-time dose, prevent RSV. I don't know. The vaccines haven't been out long enough. Maybe they're effective, maybe they're not. Maybe they're necessary, maybe they're not. I'm not going to tell you. You make your own decision about whether to get it. We have the vaccine if you want it. I'm just going to leave it at that.
He wanted to go further, ladies and gentlemen, but due to time constraints, he won't.
Well, I do want to add on that one, because we talked about this. I want to add on that one. Right now, even the recommendation for getting it is a one-time thing. We have people that got it last fall come in this fall going, hey, I'm here for my annual RSV shot. Because again, it seems like a flu shot.
Yeah.
The disease is very flu-like. It seems reasonable to them. No, it's not a come in and get your RSV shot every year or two. It's a you get it and then you're done at the moment. At least that's the recommendation of the CDC if you're going to get it.
My wife Darlene, she knows more than you pharmacists do. So
Most people do.
And anytime something like this comes up in our household, the treatment is Mucinex. What is the treatment for RSV?
Depends on which one.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you.
Does Mucinex fit in there anywhere?
Depends on which one.
I'll be honest with you, I'm not anti-Mucinex at all. Treatment for RSV, first of all, it's not antibiotics, and because it's a virus. And for most people, again, for most people that have this, the treatment is you go to the over-the-counter section of your pharmacy and you get stuff for the congestion or the drainage or the sore throat or the cough. It's cough medicines. It's ibuprofen and Tylenol for fever and sore throat and body aches. It's antihistamines and decongestants for the sneezing and the stuffiness and all that. And you manage it that way, and rest and fluids, and just like any other virus we always have. In more severe cases, sometimes, the youngest of the infants and the oldest of the old will have to be hospitalized, and they'll give them IV fluids. And again, a lot of the same things we're given at home, they're just also giving the IV fluids and watching them a whole lot closer in the hospital. There is not a drug that they're going to give to you. If you went to the hospital tomorrow with RSV, there's not an RSV drug they're going to give you. There's no such thing. It's a viral cold, and we manage it like a viral cold.
So this is not in my notes this morning, and that's a scary thought.
That's okay.
I'm starting to get nervous.
What has been the top challenge for you guys so far this winter, as far as this type illness is concerned?
Well, I would say, and this is not the exact same type of illness, but the thing we've seen most commonly this winter is the flu.
Oh, yeah.
I won't say the flu's been more common than the common cold, but because the flu ends up with multiple prescription medicines usually, that's what we've seen the most. RSV is certainly going around. The common cold is most commonly caused by rhinoviruses. Those are always going around in the winter. But yeah, we've actually had a lot of flu in the last month or so.
A ton of flu.
But doesn't everybody just lump this all together and say, well, I've just got the flu and it could be something else?
Of course it could. And yeah, cold, flu, RSV, all these things a lot of times look the same. But yeah, because we test for these things, we can tell you it has been an extremely high outbreak flu season, not just in Alabama, but across the country. So if you ask what we're seeing, honestly, we're seeing a ton of flu.
All right, appreciate you guys coming in this morning. And before we go, your Tigers went down yesterday or Saturday, and you can't stay #1 forever, I don't guess.
Honestly, they looked Saturday like they didn't want to be there. I hope it was just a one-time thing. We'll see, because they got Tuesday night at Vandy, so we'll see.
Yeah,
And
no doubt
then
about
Saturday, kind of
Saturday,
a big one.
a big one at Alabama.
You do have your tickets for that one, don't you?
That's in Tuscaloosa. I don't touch that place.
Yeah. We don't want to get contaminated with all the diseases we talk about here.
There you go. Final